and welcome to this week's edition of WCS Sports Connection. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Qualls, and with me as always is local sports expert, not just one sport, but all sports expert, Tate Mathews. Tate, it's been a long time since we've done a show, man. We came back from spring break, a lot of things going on. Winter sports is concluded, spring sports is in full swing, baseball, softball, track, tennis, soccer, everything going right now. What do you think? Have you seen anybody or have you talked to anybody about spring sports?
Yeah. I've actually seen a baseball game or two. I usually don't go to any track meets till after spring break. I feel like track really doesn't start until after spring break. Is that fair? You
fair.
Agree with that? But yeah, I mean, as usual, we got some really good baseball going on. Softball, I don't think it's any surprise. I think Brentwood's kind of separated themselves from the rest of the pack. I think that was kind of expected. They're playing really, really well. But you know, there's some teams right on around. I know Ravenwood feels like they have something to say about that. And then soccer, you know, I kind of feel the same way with them as I do track. I feel like it really fires up after track. After a spring break. So baseball is kind of the hot thing right now. You know, we've got a lot of teams that I think could end up in those two spots once we come out of the district tournament. So it's going to be fun. When we get down to it, you know, Independence has kind of separated themselves from the rest of the pack, ranked number one, which I thought was pretty neat. I don't put a whole lot in the polls. I know you and I kind of get after the basketball polls during the year, but the TBCA, the Tennessee Baseball Coaches Association poll, I feel like they do a pretty good job with it. And Independence is ranked number one in the AAA poll this week, which I think that's a heck of a compliment. They're playing really, really well. Now, they have not played as tough of the district schedule that the Summits and the Brentwoods have. So I think they still have Summit, Brentwood, and Ravenwood. So it'll be interesting to see. But they're definitely talented. They're definitely playing well. And then, of course, you've got the defending state champion in AAA in that mix. They had a big win over Ravenwood last night or 2 nights ago. So, anyways, baseball is going to be another fun race.
Well, anytime we start talking about spring sports, you know what's right around the corner.
Wilco's.
The Wilco's. The annual Wilco's.
Have you picked out your tux yet? Is the
we have
question
not.
Everybody wants to know.
And I have not, but I'm thinking 24 karat magic in the air. Thinking a little bit of 24 karat gold in
golden tickets
for the golden tickets. We got the golden tickets about to come out for the first year ever. The golden tickets are actually in golden envelopes, and it's going to look amazing.
Nice.
Can't wait for that. Partners at Copy Solutions do a fantastic job with that every year. But, you know, it's a great event. It's grown into an event that has superseded anything that I ever thought or could have imagined for that event. If you'll remember, year one, 275 people, Franklin Theater. And once again, it's kind of like the first time we did game day. I thought, nobody's going to show up. We're going to be up here. I've got all these things set up in place for these awards, and we're going to be like...
We couldn't even get our wives to come.
Yeah, we got 10 people out there. The wives didn't want to come, and then all of a sudden, I probably took the worst cussing I've ever taken in this job from a particular coach at that point in time because they couldn't even get them in. So, I mean, it's gone from 275. We had over 900 last year. What do you think about this? What's your perspective on this event?
Well, I think, you know, not just because talking to you, I think you've done an unbelievable job with it. It was an unbelievable idea.
Well, it's just not me.
No, I know,
it's a team of us.
But you can't do anything without yourself, right? I mean, you can't do anything by yourself. But it was your idea, and I think there's so many cool things that go into it. But, you know, you've got a great product to highlight in WCS Sports Conference. Athletes and athletic teams, and then, you know, you've got so many great supporters that are a big part of it. I mean, you know, Walker Chevrolet, and then you think about what Street Tuxedo does. I mean, there are no words to describe what they do. That's unbelievable. So it is, and then the move into the fact, and then, you know, here we are. Luckily, we've got a venue in the factory that's got I believe, is this the Liberty Hall? It's in Liberty Hall. It's perfect for it.
Perfect. And, you know, we hated to move from that first year. You know, the process went 275, and then we used the factory and the theater, and we did the streaming back and forth, if you remember that, which was pretty cool, but it was a technological nightmare from behind the scenes.
A little bit of a delay.
Yeah, a little bit of a delay going on there. You know, we had roughly 600 or 700 people. Then last year we moved the entire thing to the factory in year 3, 900 plus people. You know, and then we added to that monster the red carpet walk, which is my favorite part of the whole show, outside. You and Coach Joins and Coach Goodwin will be revamping your roles there and doing that as well. Interesting note, Anna Glenn Grove. Anna Glenn Grove has been with us since day one. She is a Franklin graduate. She's been the red carpet reporter, behind-the-scenes reporter, behind the stage after the winter. You know, she does all those things for us. She's been on game day. She was awarded an internship
That's awesome.
to Fox Nashville News for the whole entire summer. So she is going places. I'm proud for her. Congratulations to her. You know, she is now at Auburn right now, studying in mass marketing and stuff like that. Georgia. And doing mass marketing and broadcasting and all those things. So she's on her way, and you know, this is one of those pieces that I hope that when she makes it big, she can look back and say, you know, I'm doing the weekend. And she's coming back. She has carved out time for her schedule to come back and be the red carpet interviewer. Again, Sierra Bailey as well is a senior at Summit. She's done this,
Great job.
And hopefully, like Anna Glenn Grove, in her steps, will go to a college, try to get into a major that you know, shadows this as well, and potentially get an internship as well.
Yeah, I think that's great, and that speaks to the event that Anna's willing to come back, and I thought that's one thing I thought was so neat was that the other thing about it is, you know, you added the red carpet. We had the red carpet the first two, but not like this last year, and the fact that people got there at 4:30 and stayed until 9 o'clock, man.
Yeah, we're not going to do that this year.
I know, but that's hard to get people to do that, and they did it. And trust me, you know, we have a lot of entertainment options in this town. They wouldn't have done it if they didn't enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? And so I thought it was great, and to see the kids or the young men and women in that atmosphere, and you know, so many of them, just like Sierra and Anna Glenn. You know I couldn't have talked like that when I was that age. I didn't even want to get up and do a speech, right?
You act like you can do it now.
That's right. I can't.
They need to be on this show rather than us.
Without a doubt. But at least I'm not embarrassed to do it, you know. And it is. It's just really. And I love their choices and the tuxes and the dresses, and neat event, man. Really cool.
Well, the golden tickets are going out real soon. We've got our fall and winter narrowed down. The finalists are in the box. They're done. They're ready.
There's some tough categories this year.
They're all ready for those envelopes and golden tickets to be delivered. Now we have to round out the entire roster of the spring athletes. Once we get that finished, we'll get all those out. And, you know, it's right around the corner. We're a little over a month away. May 14th is the day. We had to bump it up a week, which hurts me as far as trying to get things done. But it's also, you know, you can't avoid those spring sports. I think what we're going to try to do next year is really, the event's so big, is have it after graduation. You know, the biggest downside of that is, you know, people are going on vacations. But I think if we let people know up front and early enough that this event is going on a particular day after school is over, that I think we'll still be fine, because the event's kind of taken on a life of itself.
Early on, just looking at it, what do you think is the toughest category?
You know, always when you look at the coaches of the year, you know, you look at the female coaches of the year this year, you know, you got potential Pete Mueller, Ravenwood girls cross country state champions, Barbara Campbell, volleyball state champions. You know, you look at in the job Mariska Harris has done on that particular category. You look at always athletes of the year. I almost fell into the trap there and started telling you some names, but that's going to be a pretty good category. Football player of the year is always a big category. I mean, let's just be honest. You look at the football player category, you're going to have two Mr. Football finalists potentially, and one semifinalist. So I mean, that's going to be, you know, a really good category. Girls basketball.
That's what I was going to say.
Is going to be a really difficult category. You got two potential returnees to the Wilcos there. One that won it last year coming back. You know, it's really cool when you start looking at it. You get to look at, you know, wrestling last year. You had 3 state champions up there. Who wins the Wilco Award, right? Right. So, I mean, there's some that are a little bit fun. It's how it goes, the ebb and flow of it. But some are real easy. You know, you can pick them automatically. I mean, let's just be honest. Who's going to be the volleyball one? I mean, returning for her second Wilco in a row will be Logan Eggleston, you know, and that's one of those things. I don't think that's any surprise there. I can probably say her name, even though we're not. I say we're officially, you know, her getting a golden ticket is not something that's going to be just shocking the world. But,
right.
But you know, but there's some categories like we just mentioned that will be really difficult.
Yeah, and I love it. I think they do too. You know, it's quite the honor to get it. So it's going to be fun. especially those categories you mentioned, I'm very interested to see who, kind of like making the state basketball tournament. I think if you're a finalist, whether you win or not, that means you were pretty dang good.
Absolutely. All right, let's look at a real quick recap of baseball, and then we'll work into something we've never done before. We're going to go and try to come up with an all WCS Sports Conference basketball team starting from 2014-15 season to present.
Now tell them why.
From the years?
Yeah.
Because that was the years I've been here. Right. So that I have first-hand knowledge.
Right. So if you're before that, if you're Kevin England,
I'm sorry.
Don't get mad.
Kevin England, yeah, I apologize. You only had 2,800 career points.
Right,
I don't know if you're going to make this list. But, yeah, we 2014-15 to the present just because of the fact we have first-hand knowledge on that. So we're going to try to build this team. We're going to throw it out on Twitter, have a viewer's choice team as well to see how that coincides with who we select. But before that, Brentwood sitting right now 5-3, 4-2 in baseball. They did beat Ravenwood in the Battle of the Woods 2-0. That's a huge win for them. They've been up and down, up and down. Caden Dreyer, Carson Shacklet, Queener threw a gem this week against Ravenwood. They get a really good team. They got the pieces. I really think that even though, their record probably doesn't reflect it like Coach Moore wants to, Brentwood's going to be in top four easy and pushing for one of those top two teams getting out.
Well, you mentioned those guys, the guys you just mentioned. I mean, they're all state caliber players, so they're still loaded with talent. I haven't looked at their schedule. My guess is, because they always do, they play really, really tough competition. So, I don't think the Ravenwood win is Ravenwood had won 11 straight when Brentwood beat them. Queener throws a two-hitter, 11 strikeouts, no walks, and that was against Carter Sells, who was the Ravenwood pitcher, Arkansas signee. He had not lost yet this year, so that's going to be a battle all the way through. Again, the 3 losses, if I'm Brentwood, that doesn't worry me.
You mentioned Carter Sells. The WCS Sports Conference right now is loaded with baseball talent. SEC in particular, you got to think Summit's got 2, Indy's got 1 that I can think off the top of my head. Ravenwood obviously has 1. Denton would be a second Zane Denton, the younger brother to Bryce Denton, by the way, who made the Peoria Chiefs roster this week in high A ball for the Cardinals organization. So Bryce is on his way. He kind of went up and down last year a little bit, had appendix surgery on that. He's now back. He started with Peoria last year. They bumped him back after he had to have emergency surgery down to the State College Spikes in Pennsylvania, but now he's back up with Peoria, so it'll be great and interesting to see. Dale Burdick, older brother to Michael Burdick, playing with the Las Vegas 51s, AAA organization out there for the Mets, with his chance to make it. And Tony Kemp, I can't figure out what's going on with the Astros. They're so good. Tony Kemp had a great preseason. Gets up there. He made the 40-man roster. Congratulations to him. He's a Centennial graduate, obviously, and played at Vanderbilt, but will be starting with the Fresno Grizzlies in the AAA affiliate.
That's a heck of a list.
That's a good list.
And we got more coming.
Yeah, we got plenty of coming. Centennial 65. They beat Dixon County 4-3. They need a statement win for Coach Balfin. They're not into that bulk of that schedule like you spoke of earlier. Franklin 2-10, 1-6, have lost 8 in a row. They did beat the reigning AA state champion Spring Hill, is now in the district 10-2, but lost to Indy 12-2. Franklin, Coach Whipple looking to get back in that winning column. Independence 13-0, 5-0. We talked about them earlier. They're currently ranked number 1 in the state. Wins over Page, Centennial Franklin. Page 4-4, 2-3, beat Summit 8-2. Big win for Coach Roten and the Page Patriots, now part of the District 11 AAA group. Ravenwood 11-3, 5-2. They lost. I don't know if this will affect their rankings or not. They are ranked number 5 currently. I still think it's staying in the top 10. You lose to Brentwood. That's not a terrible thing.
No.
Obviously, because Brentwood could arguably, before this year's over, will be probably in the running to be on that list before it's over with. Would you agree with that?
Oh, without a doubt. Both of them.
Coach Craig's group, we mentioned Zane Denton, the younger brother to Bryce Denton, a switch hitter, playing third for them, playing really well.
Carter Sells. His boy Shane.
Yes.
Coach Craig's son, Shane Craig. Good player. They
have some speed, they have some power, and they have some good pitching. That's the ingredients to a good team. Summit, Old Sparty sitting at 7-3, 4-2. They did, like I said, lost to Page 8-2. Wins over Brentwood, Spring Hill, and Ravenwood, all 3 teams. Now, if you look at this list, only 2 goes. Only 2.
I was going to ask you, because I don't know. I hope you do. Now that we added Spring and Page,
Right.
does the regular season champion still get an automatic?
Regular season,
Because I know we don't play the 3-game series anymore.
and I think, and I have to double check on this on the bylaw. The old law was
Regular season.
regular season champ goes, everybody else is playing for that other spot.
Right.
And then if the regular season champ wins, the runner-up in the district tournament would be the team that goes.
Correct.
So if
Same thing?
I'm almost positive it is. So if you look at this team, who is going to be your top 2? Can we whittle it down to the top 4? Whittle it down to the top 4.
Summit, Brentwood,
obviously-
Ravenwood, and Indy.
I think obviously Independence is going to be there. Brentwood, Summit, and Ravenwood is your top 4 picks right now.
Brentwood, Summit, Ravenwood, and Indy. Yep.
Okay. And then out of those 4,
It depends. Then it
Anybody can
becomes a
win.
matchup thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
right. Anybody
when
can win.
Summit's healthy, they probably have the best 1, 2, 3 pitchers of anybody. But I don't know that they've got the best field. And you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's then it becomes a matchup problem, big time.
Blake Money, you're speaking of Summit, he is a LSU commit right now.
Yep.
Chris McElvain, Vanderbilt commit, probably 2 of the best arms in the league
That's
right
right.
now. You're right. If you match up well with this team, I mean, you could literally go home in the first round, or you could win it all.
Now, I do think that
I mean, think about Brentwood from last year. Brentwood lost in the first opening round of the district tournament and won the AAA state championship.
going back to, if that rule wasn't in place, they don't even go. They don't even
make
move on. So, yeah, and I would think even more. And so Page, like we just talked about here, Page is, had they not been in a district with CPA and Spring Hill the past few years, they've got at least 1 state tournament in AA, maybe 2 or 3. Okay, so they come in here and they're middle of the road. They beat Summit 8-2, and we're just now talking about they might have the best pitching. So I think that more than ever, the seeding going into the district tournament really matters.
On the softball side, let's talk about Brentwood for a moment. Brentwood, went and played in the Gulf Shores Classic, big 40-plus team tournament, only Tennessee team to make it into the Sweet 16. What's going on, man? 11-4. She's doing a really, really good job out there.
Oh, 1, she knows how to coach softball, and 2, she's got some players.
Hannah Koenig is one. That's a really
right.
good player.
And they can do it. They're complete. They're really good on the mound, and they're really good from the plate. And obviously, they're good out in the field too. But they were really good last year. Might be better this year.
Coach Buchanan, Independence.
I mean, give him time.
Just think about that. Came in from Dixon, won the state championship in what year?
Well, going into last year, they had won. I can't remember the years, but
He's won multiple state championships.
Well, they went 4 years in a row and won 2 of them.
Right. So he comes and takes over.
I think he's won 3.
He takes over an Independence program. They're sitting currently, and I'm not sure this is accurate, 8-3, 3-1 in the district right now. And they beat Columbia 4-2, wins already over Summit and his old team, Dixon, and Spring Hill as well. I mean, it's just a matter of time. This guy really knows what he's doing. Coach Buchanan will have Independence rolling before the end of the year.
That's right.
All right, so let's get to it. We're going to spend the rest of the show trying to draft an all WCS Sports Conference team. Basketball, we're going to start with the guys, see how far we can get today, then look at and branch out on the girls. We'll probably have a first team, a second team, maybe even a third team. If you make the list, it's awesome to note. It's worthy to make the list, right?
Yes.
But then we're looking at the starting 5.
This is a big deal.
Yeah, starting 5 of this basketball team. So let's just start throwing some names out. I'm going to go back to the 2014-15 season. That was my first year here. Brentwood Bruins, Coach Dennis King, gets into the state championship game against East Hamilton. Todd Day's team came in with the Twins that are now at Kansas.
Hamilton.
What did I say?
East Hamilton.
Pardon me. Hamilton High School. East Hamilton's at the other end of the state.
Yeah, and East has
Memphis
been
East.
good. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
correct. Literally came down to a bucket. Tanner Tapp has a shot on the same board that Asa Duval hit the shot against Blackman.
Let's not forget, they knocked off, I believe, an undefeated Blackman team in the first round.
That's right. So, I mean, it was a magical year that first year.
Great team.
Got up there and got, get state's runner-up. Anyway, off of that team, I've selected several. I'm going to throw this name out. Grant Teichman, he is on that team, but he also his best year was probably the following year where he was a senior. Jalen Lawson, what a tournament he had. I mean, you think about the point guard for Coach King, and part of that comeback they started having was because of Jalen Lawson on the break and Tanner Tapp at a forward position. Let's talk about those three just for a moment.
I think Jalen Lawson's probably the sleeper of maybe the whole list. I love that guy and what that guy could do. You got to remember, he was surrounded obviously by a bunch of great talent, but had he not, so what did he do? He did the things to help the team win. I think that kid, don't you agree? That kid could have scored more had he not been on that team. The way, there's been a few like him, but the way he got the ball up the court, so fast. So
best handles.
He could handle it. And that Hamilton game, he's going through, those guys were all a bunch of D1 guys. And I mean, I loved him.
Well, the Lawson twins, like I said, the Lawson twins originally on that team, both 6'7", 6'8" apiece, both Mr. Basketball finalists. One of them got Mr. Basketball. Jalen's coming in at an undersized guard at about 5'11".
That's right.
And you know, Lawson twins are now on the Kansas team. And you know, he just literally was unguardable just about that game.
He was.
And
he had been like that most of the year.
And what happened is, as he breaks down the defense, then he starts to kick out, and everybody starts to hit the shot. I had a left-handed guard. My name escapes me. I can see him plain as day right now that had a couple big threes. I mean, just huge down the stretch. Teichman, obviously. And then, you know, they get the ball. They're up 15. They put on a clinic. Hamilton comes, you know, they come back down to earth. Hamilton makes a run. Then they go up 12. But then they make,
and you're thinking, oh, man.
It's over. And then they make the roaring comeback with Tapp on the kick out at the buzzer. And misses the shot. You know, Tanner Tapp now at Samford University playing ball.
Safe to say that would have been the biggest
upset.
I mean, that's Hoosiers type stuff right there.
Yes. And
except Brentwood's not a small country town.
Tanner Tapp at Samford University. Jalen played a little bit at Lipscomb for a year, and Teichman started at Friedharben, now at Carson Newman. So those three make the list for that Brentwood team from the.
I don't think anybody argues with those three.
From that 14-15 year. Let's bump it up a year to 15-16. We'll look at that team. Patrick Murphy on that Greg Glass coach team that made it to the sub-state that particular year. Now playing at Martin Methodist. Malcolm Walker. They ran the 4-out dribble drive, and anytime Malcolm kind of played that center/forward role, anytime the defense collapsed, they'd throw it up near the rim close to him, and he would absolutely hammer it. So he was an undersized center, but he could, jump out of the gym. Great athlete. KJ LeSure from Centennial, playing at Columbia State right now, knowing that he's on campus at Martin Methodist this week. Hopefully he'll join the Red Hawks down there, Coach Scott Combs and crew down on the NAIA level there. I'm going to skip this, and I'm going to go to the next one. We'll come back to that one. Joe Critchlow, Franklin, unheralded forward for a really good Jamie Wilson coach team that year. They got beat by Hillsborough in the regional. They were
a really good Hillsborough team.
And Joe was a really solid 15-10 kind of guy. Good player on that team. Pierre Watkins, the guard from Independence on there, playing Division III ball in Alabama. Garrison Mathews. Now, I'm going to be honest, and if Garrison was here, he'd probably agree with me. At some point in time, people can almost argue, and I'm not sure he might not deserve to be on that list on some of these names. However, look at what he has done at Lipscomb University.
No question.
ASUN Player of the Year.
Well, I think part of it is both him and Critchlow were football guys.
That's correct.
And so, again, you know, I'm not going to go on my multi-sport soapbox, but didn't hurt Garrison Mathews.
Didn't hurt him at all.
Didn't hurt Critchlow.
Didn't hurt him at all.
Critchlow's
playing at BYU, starting quarterback last 4 games.
That's right.
Garrison Mathews played football, came to Lipscomb, obviously not playing football now, gets healthy, lean, strong.
Yeah, and part of what Casey Alexander tell you that he likes about Garrison Mathews is his toughness. You know, big body. But yeah, so I think that's part of it. Had Garrison or Critchlow, either one of them on that list, had they been playing basketball 12 months a year, probably a little bit better in high school than they were, you know. So, no, I think they belong on that list without a doubt.
Well, I said that when you say that, not belong on the list, on the list that we're on now, but when you start getting this first team, some people would tend to potentially overlook just for the sure fact that maybe he wasn't as an outstanding player as some of these guys that first come to the forefront. But look at his career now.
If you go with what have you done since,
I'm going to argue.
definitely on
I'm
the first
arguing that
team.
he's a first-team guy.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
saying.
right.
I can see where people
No
can
doubt,
argue back and
no
forth.
doubt.
All right, let's keep on going. 16-17, exciting.
And I loved. He was surrounded by some really good players. The role he played, I loved Malcolm Walker. I thought he brought some really tough stuff to that team.
All right, 16-17 year. That's the year that
There's not very many good guys on this list.
yeah, Greg Glass went to the state tournament that year. Greg Shirley went to the state tournament that year with Brentwood. Now, but you go back here. What about the border battles from these two teams alone? Look at this list. So let's start. Obviously, number one draft pick could potentially, arguably, be the number one draft pick, right?
I would think so.
Grayson Murphy, now at Belmont University, from Independence. 1A, 1B. John Carter, now playing with Navy Prep, will be on the Navy squad next year, playing for Summit. Ty Carter, point guard for that team. One of the best defenders, best point guard players were unfortunately missed this year due to injury, but he's now he is committed to Tennessee Tech in football. DeMonte Dixon from that team, Illinois State signee, did not probably have the senior campaign that he wanted, but that particular year, last year, puts him on the list hands down.
Without a doubt.
Elon Smallwood, forward for Ravenwood, Coach Whitlock. That guy, Smallwood could flat play.
Yes, without a doubt.
Jaden Lewis, another guard from Summit.
Glue guy, man.
Yep. Kellen King plays at Carson Newman now.
Really good.
Brentwood High School. Reed Smith, kind of under the radar type guy, a center for them, unheralded, if you will, from some people that don't think he needs to be on this. He needs to be on this list.
I think so, without a doubt.
And then one that we can argue back and forth, Kristen LaBreche.
Well, you look at what he did in the postseason. If you go with what he did in the postseason that year, he definitely belongs on that list.
He's now playing football for UT Martin.
That's right, and a football guy. So had he played 12 months, I think he's a lot better. But I mean, it's safe to say that state tournament team you talk about, they don't make the state tournament without LaBreche.
Oh, I agree 100%. So, we go
So
down
how
this-
many times normally when you say John Carter, is it not automatically he's the best guy on the list? Not so, because you got Grayson Murphy on. I do think that Grayson and John are 1A, 1-2 on that list, don't you?
I don't know. Some people can argue about some other guys on here. I mean, it's going to be fun to argue this out.
I don't know
we've
that
got
anybody-
1 minute left.
I don't know that anybody. This is the only thing I'd say. I don't know that anybody took over a game like Grayson Murphy did.
I would not disagree. All right, 17-18, moving to this past season. Obvious, hands down, Reese Glover. Darius James of Fairview, multi-sport athlete, district MVP over there in the AA side. Mac James, guard for Independence. Trey Carlton, guard for Centennial. Ashari Hainsworth, center/forward for Coach Froden at Centennial as well. David Winley, good guard for Brentwood. Jack Thurman, guard/forward for them as well. Nate Bladorn, center for Nolansville. Dustin Williams kind of rounds off this initial list. This is not set in stone. This is going to get us started. We're going to start whittling it down there. We're going to do our draft and see what happens.
Who
and
gets
see what,
first pick?
See what? Well, we're both going to have the same
gotcha,
pick, so
gotcha.
you can
Okay.
we can pick differently, but we're going to look at it from position, not year, and try to come up with an all first team, all second team, all third team.
I think it's going to be fun.
It's going to be awesome.
I'm excited.
So if you're watching this, make sure that you tweet your candidate at our Twitter page, and then we will look at a viewer's choice team as well.
Love it. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. Thanks for joining us for WCS Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.